everyone for staying with us. And let's get into the politics of the APC and, of course, talking about President Bola Tinubu and the last one here. A former governor of Bauchi State and chairman of the Board of Trustees of the APC Professional Forum, Mr. Issa Yuguda, has exonerated President Bola Tinubu from being responsible from the present economic plight being suffered by Nigerians at an event in the first edition of the Policy Roundtable of the Asiwaju Scorecard series organized by the forum here in Abuja. He was berating the opposition elements, and the former Minister of Aviation argued that it took the ingenuity of Tinubu to get the country's economy still standing. Take a listen to him.
For the history of currency falls, we are aware of those that happened in the Great Depressions in the 30s and just before the Second World War. And of course, we knew the reasons, and they are very similar to what we experienced. By the time Mr. President took over, the debt sustainability ratio was about 97%. So you can imagine every month, your revenue, 97% of it goes to debt service. The rest is, so I'm just trying to underscore the importance of Nigerians to know why, and of course, how difficult it was for Mr. President to take off his government.
In the next few days, the Students' Loan Fund will become operational, and Nigerian youth will now have easier access to higher education, irrespective of tribe, religion, or geographical location, or godfather. On power, I have observed the increased transmission capacity of the country that now peaks at 14,000 megawatts.
Let's get Ismail Ahmed to talk to us on some of these issues. Thank you so much, Ismail, for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
When your party and leaders in your party say, don't blame Bola Tinubu for the economic challenges, do you agree to that kind of stance? And you heard what Issa Yuguda said.
Well, I agree to a large extent, Sheon, because like the last speaker said, I mean the president of NLC, I think it will be unfair, to blame any one government at a particular point in time about the woes, the economic woes. I think it has been issues that have, been perennial for quite some time, and they have kind of accumulated over the course of several decades. There has been a series of bad decisions and opportunities that were left, untaken or untapped for so long by so many other administrations before this. I think what this administration or this president is facing is he made a decision, and I know that for a fact because, for a couple of times I've spoken to him during the campaign, and I know he used to say that some of the most difficult decisions that have to be taken by any administration must be taken within the first year of its, incumbency, because those are the time, that is the time where usually governments enjoy a certain honeymoon that they need to take certain hard decisions to correct. There are so many realignment and corrections that need to be taken in the Nigerian economy, and the realignments and corrections, everybody knows, are not easy, and they are not painless. So I would agree that the president or the administration in its entirety is not to blame. I can see why a lot of people would see that these hard decisions could have been tactically taken at different times, to ease the pain for the common man. But they are decisions that needed to be taken because during the campaign, we've heard all the candidates, of all the major political parties say basically the same thing. They're going to take away the subsidy. They're going to take away unified exchange rate. People cannot be subsidizing the dollar. The government cannot be subsidizing the dollar for a lot of people. What used to be in force was you could apply for a license for a BDC, for Bureau de Change, for example, pay your 35 million naira to CBN, have them hold it for you for what 3 to 6 months, return it back to you, and basically be giving you'll be bidding for foreign exchange, and you'll be given every week. They had the foreign reserve, the buffer to do that. So basically, CBN was giving people free money to be able to sell and just make the change and pocket the difference. So all these decisions were taken, and the president believed that they needed to be taken, and he took it from day one in office. And, yes, they are not easy to swallow, but he is not to be blamed. I agree.
This is not a blame game in the sense that it involves the lives and livelihoods of people, the real people that are impacted, which can determine whether they live or they die. Because these policies actually determine the lives of real Nigerians. So the question is that I'm not sure those who voted President Tinubu were actually looking for who to hold responsible. They're looking for someone who said, I can do it. But now not doing it, can you exonerate yourself from saying, yes, I'm trying to do it, but I'm not getting, but you cannot blame me? Is that fair to those who voted the president into office?
But I can do what? I think he is actually, he said that he was going to take off subsidy. He said he was going to unify the exchange. Those are promises he made on the campaign trail.
The question
you
is
followed us on those campaign trails.
Absolutely.
He said
but
those
the question
things.
is that, I mean, when the opportunity to port your lines came in a competitive telecoms environment, and you can actually move from one telecom operator to another. When you try it and you see that it's not working, you move to another. It tells you that when, that's an example of the variation in the choice Nigerians had, and that those who will say they are disappointed. For example, I had a guest a few days ago who says most of the economists on the President Bola Tinubu government are more or less tax collectors because they are levying and boarding Nigerians and collecting more from Nigerians. He said the renewed hope is more like renewed hopelessness. These are the assessment of those who think that this president, in terms of economy, has done woefully.
Have you ever heard of at any time in the history of the world that there has been a leader, both political, religious, anyone, that some people do not criticize? People would criticize. It's a free country. We're in a democracy. People would say what they feel, and they have the right to do so. And some of their arguments may be valid. You may have counter to some of those arguments. What I'm trying to say is, you are asking whether the president should be blamed for the economic woes of the country. And I agree that he should not be blamed. I'm saying that, yes, decisions have been taken over the course of several decades in this country by previous administrations that has led us to this. This president realized that, look, there are certain difficult decisions that has to be made. Now, there is a reason why they are called difficult decisions. There are reasons why they are called painful decisions.
Who should we blame?
This is being what?
Who should we blame if you are not blaming Bola Tinubu?
No, why do we need to blame someone? Because blaming is not solving the problem. Okay, so what? So if you get someone
who
to blame,
should we hold accountable?
Well, no, for example, holding accountable, the government in power must be held accountable. That's holding accountable is completely different from blaming. You know, if you're looking for someone to blame for your lot in life, so what does that do if you blame that person? So I give you a scapegoat, you keep blaming him. So what else after that? Does it solve your problem? No, it doesn't solve your problem.
He said he asked for the job.
No, you
he
need someone
that he needs to do it. Your party went and told Nigerians.
You are talking.
Did your party lie to Nigerians about your capacity and ability to do the job?
You are talking as if the president is apologizing for the decision he has made. He has never apologized for it.
But the Nigerian people are suffering for it.
No, it is a painful decisions have been made, but they are needed to be made.
For how long?
What do you mean for how long?
For how long?
No, I don't know for how long. I'm not an economist. I can't tell you for how long, but I do know for a fact that bad decisions that have taken by previous administrations and previous governments, be it military juntas or some other military and civilian administration that had passed, decisions that have been deferred because some leaders were too cowardly to take some of those difficult decisions because of the popular reaction, were left by a certain leader that would come at some point in the life of this administration to take those decisions. Now, you can argue, and this is what maybe I might subscribe to, you can argue the tacticality of taking those decisions, whether one should come after the other, whether for each one decision that comes, there should be other things that should come along with it in terms of soccer or whatever. You know, that is an argument that you can have. But to say that, you know, that we are ducking our heads in the clouds or as if we are behaving as if we didn't make those promises that we are going to take off this subsidy.
Your party's hands are on the plow. Your party's hand on a plow. You requested for the job.
And we take responsibility.
I remember in the campaign when your party defeated Jonathan, and you blamed Jonathan for the rot. So that's what the Buhari government did, and they blamed Jonathan. You literally took air out of that government to win the election.
We blame PDP.
Even for now.
No, we blame PDP. We blamed Jonathan particularly for not believing in the Chibok girls' abduction. But we blame PDP for maladministration of this country. But what particularly happened on the Jonathan that we keep harping on was that it was the Chibok girls' abduction, and which we believe that the government at that time didn't even believe the abduction actually took place. You know, so those are the things we actually particularly blame Jonathan for.
So can we also
in terms of maladministration, we blame the whole of the PDP, including the administration.
Would you agree tonight, Ismail, that there is a maladministration?
Just like President Obasanjo blamed the military junta when he came into office.
Would you agree, Ismail, I mean, if you're pragmatic tonight, that there is a maladministration in your party's governance today, considering the indices and the economic indices that we see today? For example, inflation figure today is above 33%.
I agree with you.
Would you agree? Food inflation.
I would agree with you that some of the hard decisions that we have taken have caused significant discomfort in families of Nigerians.
Isn't that maladministration?
It's not maladministration.
What is a maladministration?
You know, if you go to an infirmary, for example, and you needed a certain dislocation fixed, you do know that there would be discomfort in fixing that dislocation. You know that for a fact, and the doctor will tell you that it's going to be painful. If he's going to inject you with a needle, he's going to tell you this is going to be painful. You just have to be patient for it. We never at any point in time deceived ourselves that this was going to be easy, or it was going to be painless, or it was going to be nice and rosy in the first 1 year. Yes, there's so many people, even within the party, that are like, okay, are we taking in these hard decisions too many at one time? Are we taking one hit too many, each one taking us a bit closer to the breaking point? People are suffering in multitudes, and they have been for a long time. But decisions needed to be made.
How can Nigerian people trust your government that it can deliver on what they said? Even 1 year they are suffering this much.
No,
what do you want to tell them to make them think that these sufferings will go on for the next 3 years?
No, who said it's going to go on for the next 3 years?
No, because it's only what you see today that you can use to calculate the future.
No, that's not true. That's not how government works. That's not how life works. The fact that you are wearing a suit now doesn't mean you'll be wearing a suit tomorrow. You probably will see you in kaftan. Doesn't change anything. So what I'm saying is, what is going on right now is that decisions were taken. Those are hard decisions. None of these decisions was not promised during the campaign, not only by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but other candidates as well. All of them said the same thing. All of them had flowery speeches in their campaign stamps about how they are going to take away the subsidy, from petroleum products, and how they are going to unify the exchange rate, how the elites are being subsidized because they go shopping, and how they say all these things. All right. Now, but right now we are in a situation where things need to realign. The president has taken hard decisions. It's discomforting. We are all feeling it. We are all feeling the pinch. Nobody is immune to that, as far as I know, within my circle. But this, I wouldn't say the president is to be blamed for. But you know me, Sheun, if there are things that I believe directly that we have deliberately sidestepped or did not do right, I will tell you. I'm not going to mince my words.
Let's take a breather. The storm on the cloud is gathering, Ismail, against your party. Oppositions are coming together, and these forces are actually preparing to remove your party from prominence in the next election, and the planning is coming so early. And the fact that there is trouble within your party, I'd like to know what your views are, because we need to take a break, everyone. But when we come back, we'll be hearing from Ismail Ahmed whether there is an implosion within the APC, and this gathering storm that we're seeing, will it actually storm out APC from prominence? We'll be finding out after this break. Join us again. Thanks so much, everyone. Welcome back to the conversation. Ismail Ahmed is a leader in the APC. He's been speaking with us on the program. Thank you so much, Ismail, for your time tonight.
Thank you.
You heard that is what is happening in the opposition, and it does look that there are political leaders in this country who are coming together who think that in 2027 there will be some kind of tsunami politically to upstage your party from prominence.
Well, that is the job of opposition, isn't it? The job of the opposition is to always threaten to take away government from the party in power. So that's not surprising. I don't know why that is a big deal. You know, it's not. In fact, as a government, as a party in office, we would relish, you know, the possibility of a very strong opposition to keep us on our toes and actually do democracy the way it should be done. Not all this
with the way your party is
around.
running government, you think that your party can withstand the storm, a strong political opposition in 2027?
Ultimately, you know, Nigerians would make a decision based on what they know of the people who are running for particular offices at every point in time. Not all these photo ops that we see. So I'm not concerned about it. It's something that I look forward to a very meaningful opposition, because we haven't seen that since we got into office. We were the last bastion of opposition that was really at the forefront of doing its work from 2011 all the way to 2015, and we took over power with strategic alliances and doing our work very well. Since we got into office, so I don't think we've seen
Let me anchor on what is happening within your party. There is trouble. You are from Kano State.
Yes.
What is going on? There is a battle. There is a strong opposition against your party at the national level, coming from your state, and all of those local politics is also targeted at one thing, isn't it? And what could that be?
I'm actually confused. What trouble you are talking about? What trouble is going on in Kano, in APC Kano?
Did you see the amendment to some of the laws in Kano State? Did you see what is happening in terms of allegation of corruption against your national chairman? Did you see all of those politics?
No, hold on. If you are talking about you said there was a problem within the APC in Kano. We don't have a problem within the APC in Kano.
I'm saying that the storm is coming from the Kano. Yes, within your party, there are those also who are calling for the head of some members of the NWC.
You see, an opposition party took over power in Kano, and let's not kid ourselves. It was not a friendly opposition. It was a battle to the last minute. We went all the way to the Supreme Court. This same thing almost happened in 2019 when Dr. Abdullah Umar Ganduje was running for his second term, and it was the Supreme Court that separated us in the first place. So there is a bitter rivalry, bitter one, you know, of course, between the camp of Dr. Abdullah Umar Ganduje and the camp of the former governor of Kano State, Dr. Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. I mean, that is not a secret, right? And the NNPP was created more or less, was given life more or less to take over power in Kano much more than anything else. So whatever is happening from that camp should not surprise any politician, because of course they would spare nothing to make sure that they go after what they consider, who they consider a political adversary. So I don't see it. I'm not surprised at all. But we don't have a problem within the APC family, either in Kano or at the national level. We don't have that problem.
I love the way you created a defense as though there is really no storm. We don't have time again. We're totally out of time. But thank you so much. It's always a pleasure having you, Ismail.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well done.